Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 2A News with Craig DeLuz. I am your host, Craig DeLuz, and we are here at NRA 2026, the 155th Annual Meeting and Exposition in Houston, Texas. Having a good time, once again, meeting good friends and meeting old friends. And this is a gentleman that I have here with me today, right now, who is I can definitely say he's an old friend, not because he's old, but because we've known each other for a while. Mr. John Richardson, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing well.
Excellent.
And there are days I feel old, days I don't feel old. So I will say at the next NRA annual meeting, I'll have my 70th birthday there.
Your 70th birthday.
So I'm
Wow.
not quite 69, but I will be.
There you go. There you go. So we'll be having a party.
We'll be having a party.
Most definitely, most definitely. Now, we first met because you've been writing for a long time, but you have a blog that you've been writing called No Lawyers, Only Guns and Money.
Correct.
Tell me a little about it.
I started it in 2010, so that's a long time ago in blog years. I started it because I was a big blog reader, especially gun blogs, and I said, wait a minute, I can do this. It doesn't look that hard, and I got started, and it literally just blossomed. Back when blogs were much more popular, I would get 500,000 visitors in a year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is great. Now, the numbers are down, but I'm not willing to give up.
Well, it's funny you say that because it is hard, because this is, once again, that was like social media hadn't really taken off yet.
No,
right?
it had not.
I think Facebook started in what, 2008?
Something like that.
Somewhere around there.
And it was mostly back then, you had to be college affiliated because it was kind of like almost a college yearbook. And it was only, literally, it's how my son-in-law met my daughter. It's like, oh, I want to know this girl who's in this room.
Well, and so now a lot of stuff is, and now the social media has really helped get people access and helped to promote a bunch of different stuff. And the other thing is, now people are also now getting into doing more video and stuff like that. But I still like the reading. I still like going and being able to read and get information. I always say this, I'm limited by my own experiences and my own experience, except I can gain experience by getting experience from you and from them, and experiences that I would never have I can get through reading about what's going on.
Well, the way I look at it is, number one, I enjoy writing. I don't think I would ever write a book, but this is a way to do it in a short format. I try to get a lot of information out. Mm-hmm. I get my opinion out. I cover things that sometimes are not covered elsewhere. And it's been fun. And I've met a lot of great people. Starting with you, and so many people in the Second Amendment community, people come up to me and they're like, oh, I love your blog, or I know you. And I'm like, who are you? Pardon me, could you tell me your name? I am so bad with names.
Like oh, you're that third person who visited my website last year. That's how I feel sometimes.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. So now I know that one of your big topics, one of your big bugaboo, you wrote a lot about what was going on at the NRA, and that would eventually lead you to becoming a board member.
I would say that is correct. I started doing a lot about the NRA in 2019, and I will be honest that some of the information was public, and a good deal of it came from board members who wanted to get the message out but were constrained from doing it themselves. So it says, I would say, speak to your neighbors so your in-laws would hear.
Right.
And so they would feed me information. They would tell me, this is coming down the road, or you should look here, but don't write it too specific or it'll come back to me. And it just grew from there. I saw too many on the NRA board ignoring their fiduciary duties. They believed what they were told, and they didn't do their own investigation like a reasonable person would. Mm-hmm. And excuse me, I covered the trial a lot, and the trial as bad as it seemed, was probably one of the best things that happened to the NRA. It forced the change that we're seeing now. And without that, I'm not sure if we could have made the necessary changes.
So I had Alex Carroll on,
Yeah.
and he talked about some of the things that he saw, the changes that he liked, that he thought would make a difference. What are some of the changes that you've seen that you think are going to be what really make a difference?
Well, one of the first changes I've seen since I've been on the board, this is my first anniversary, and it really started with the fall meeting. We all decided to work together. There are people, and then over the course of the fall, the people who just did not want to work to reform the NRA, they started resigning. And they said, I'm going to go elsewhere, or I've done my stuff. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And so they moved on, and new people have come in, and the board is now essentially reformed. It is NRA 2.0. The other big thing is we have gotten control of the budget. We've had to make some very hard decisions. We had to lay off or furlough some really good people, and it breaks my heart, but we have a balanced budget. And we're not running in the red. We're not running up a line of credit excuse me, that we cannot pay off. We are operating efficiently, economically, and we're doing it right. We just had our internal audit. It was a clean audit. In the past, you had people that the staff, especially, I hate to say it, especially Wayne, I have to fly charter. There have been no charter flights. There have been no first-class flights of staff, board members, or anybody in the last year. There were 3 people that flew business class, which is not even first class, and that was all for medical reasons, with pre-approval. So we have cleaned up our act. Now the thing is, we have to convince members, we have cleaned up our act, and you need to come home.
Well, I'll tell you, I've noticed as the board has turned over, I'm just noticing more and more. I'm gaining more friends, people who were already my friends are now becoming NRA board members, and sharing with me. And I got to tell you, you guys are doing yeoman's work. I mean, I hate to say it, you guys are like, clean, like you're the guys that are forced to clean out the latrine.
Well. I am on the audit committee.
Oh.
So yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
So when I say we have a clean audit, I've been following it all the way from the start. We work well together. Most importantly, what has changed on especially audit was as a result of the court decree, the final judgment, older people who had been on the audit committee who ignored stuff and would approve it after the fact, they're gone. The court said, you cannot serve on this committee. So basically, anybody who's on audit has only been on the board since 2023,
right.
2024. And so we work well together. Only 2 people were new, or 3 people were new, including me. 2 had served 1 term on the board, the audit committee. And so even if it's peripheral, it usually gets referred to us. We have to look at it. Is this a conflict of interest? And most of the times it's not. For example, let's say the president of a state association is a board member, and their association gets a grant from the NRA Foundation or the Freedom Action Foundation, one of the state grants, and they said, was this a conflict of interest? Is this a benefit to them only because they were a board member? And what has happened is usually the person was never involved in the grant process. They had hands-off approach to it. I'll let other people hand it. They wrote the grant. I know nothing about it. It's clean. But we still look at it. And so we approve it. And then they go on and do it. As well, they should, advancing the Second Amendment, advancing training, advancing recruiting women and youth into the shooting sports, stuff like that.
So let me ask you this, and I asked Alex the same thing. How do you see NRA being involved in elections? Because it seems like the last few election cycles, I don't know that it's been in a position to really be involved and engaged, but it's left a huge gaping hole when it comes to supporting or getting out there for Second Amendment candidates.
You're absolutely correct, and it's a money issue. We need people to donate to the Political Victory Fund, or if they're more interested in Second Amendment litigation, donate to ILA and earmark it specifically litigation. Mm-hmm. One thing we have started to do, and I think it's brilliant, we're not going Lone Ranger. We are working with other 2A groups, Second Amendment Foundation, Firearms Policy Coalition, GOA, American Suppressor Association, NSSF. We're doing joint litigation. It spreads the cost out. We now have a really good in-house litigation counsel with Joe Greenlee. He has written so many amicus briefs that we would normally have to farm out. It has saved us a couple of $1 million at least.
I know Joe Greenlee from work at the Firearms Policy Coalition. Really, really smart guy.
Really smart guy. And the more money we can bring in for the support candidates, I mean, the Political Action Fund, Political Victory Fund, it's a PAC, but it's limited in the contributions it can take, and it can only take contributions from members. You have to be a member to be able to donate. Now, our Victory Fund, anybody can donate to. But you're right, it's hard. We are being outspent. Mm-hmm. We don't have billionaires who give us their pocket change, which runs into the millions of dollars. Yeah,
I hear you. Well, the other area I see you working together, for example, is this, the Voices of 2A. For the longest time, NRA, if NRA wanted to communicate something, it did it through their own channels to their own people, right? You couldn't get NRA in regular media, right? And to get them to work with us was almost impossible. And then I think Amanda really worked to try and include Second Amendment media. What's great about this is here we are, we're amongst the public, right? So there are people who have no idea that my show exists, right? But now they're here at NRA, they see it and they're like, oh, well, I have a place where I can go and I can get reliable news on the Second Amendment. And I'm just one of dozens of outlets that are here.
You're absolutely right. And Amanda Suffolk is a board member. Mm-hmm. She saw it at the SHOT Show, Radio Row, mm-hmm. and last year was the first year we did it. It was an experiment. It worked well. And this year it's greatly expanded.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you have you guys, you have Tom Gresham and Gun Talk Radio, you have Meet the Pressers, Gun Freedom Radio, you have John Petrolino, mm-hmm. you have a lot of people. And those people I had no clue existed.
Right. Which
is great, because now I know to go listen to their podcast, look at their YouTube.
Right.
There's a lot more out there.
There is. It's phenomenal. Anyway, I can tell you that I, for one, am very happy with the changes that I've seen. I know I've talked a lot about my challenges and my frustrations with the NRA, but it was those changes that I saw that made me decide to become a life member.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I tell folks, now's the time, while the momentum is still getting going and it's going in the right direction, now's the time to kick in.
Well, exactly. We need people to come back. Probably since 2019, we've lost, I hate to say it, about 2 million members. Obviously, annual members. We need people to come home. We are working much more aggressively. We're working with other groups. And as I said to my wife and I had a discussion back in 2024, can I do more on the board or from outside the board? And we finally came to the conclusion, go for the board, try for it. And I will tell you, nobody was more shocked than me. You could have knocked me over with a feather. When I found I was nominated by the nominating committee, given I was such a well-known outside critic, between me and NRA in Danger, we were the big-time critics, and they were like, oh, they're the enemy within. We were not. We loved the NRA enough to say, here's what's wrong, here's what needs to be corrected, and then I said, I'm going to do it from the inside. And the biggest difference for me is there's been some things I just can't talk about because they were in executive session, so I can't privilege and confidential stuff. I would be violating fiduciary duty, and I argued about fiduciary duty. But I will say we are much more transparent than we used to be. And one of the biggest things I pushed for was making information available to members on our website, members only. They can now get the bylaws. They can get our Form 90 IRS filings. They can get board minutes going back 3 years. They can see all the committees and their responsibilities. They can get our annual compliance report. That's all available online for members.
And I'm going to tell you, folks, this ain't the sexy stuff, right? This work that you're doing is not the sexy work, but it's the foundation. If you want evidence as to why it's important, just look at where NRA was, because making those changes hadn't happened before.
It's a first step in rebuilding trust.
Yes.
If we can be transparent about what we're doing and why we're doing it, people will listen and hopefully come home. I had a board member say to me at breakfast the other day, I should explain, we had this thing called Board Vantage, which was mandated by the board, where documents could be shared with board members confidentially, and it's very restrictive. And he was complaining, I can't print out the bylaws. I said, yes, you can. You just need to go here to the NRA.org, manage your membership, log on, and it's right there under governance information. So I never knew that. The other thing we've just started, and literally within the past month, is the NRA app. We have an app,
Yes.
Android and Apple, has your magazines, carries your, all these kind of things. You can find discounts for guns if you're a member.
Yep. How do folks follow you and your work?
They can follow my blog, No Lawyers, Only Guns and Money, by going to Only Lawyers. Wait a second. OnlyGunsandMoney.com.
OnlyGunsandMoney.com. OnlyGunsandMoney.com. Well, sir, once again, thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for joining me on the program. And as things go forward, if there's ever anything that you want to announce or want to talk about, any particular subjects, feel free to reach out, man, and I can get you on the Webernets.
You can get me on the Webernet.
There you go. All right, folks, well, that's it for this episode of 2A News with Craig DeLuz. As usual, we very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. I will be back a little bit later with more interviews with friends and colleagues here at NRA 2026 in Houston, Texas. Y'all take care now. You hear?